Hello and welcome to another edition of Path to the Pinnacles as we build up to what is going to be another terrific day of racing at Ascot this week. Group 3 Asian Bow Stakes, Group 3 Prince of Wales Stakes and the Placid Arc Prelude. My name is Tim Walker. It's great to have your company. Also great to have the company of Taylor Courtland. Hello, TC.
Tim, Digby, how are we?
And Digby Beecham makes up the trio.
A very good morning to you, Tim, TC. Great to dissect these two races. Cracking editions.
They certainly are, and of course the added bonus of the Placid Arc Prelude this week with an eye towards a fortnight's time. Last week we were treated to a wonderful Belgravia Stakes which was taken out by Amelia's Jewel. Man Crush and Snowdome were close up. Let's hope we get something similar today. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to have a look at the Asian Bow Stakes, gents. And we're going to have a look at the market for this race before we get to the speed map. Heading it up, $4.80 is devoted. Alaskan God is at $5. Tricks of the Trade at $5.50. Carly's Karma, the first emergency, $7.50 as of 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. And then you've got last of the line, Treasured Star at $8 and $9. TC, let's have a look at the speed map for this 1,400 metre feature.
Well, I think, Digby, we can agree Excellent Dream will be the one in front. I think, speaking to a few people just recently, there might be a few differing opinions about who finds the breeze, but Titan Blinders for mine was the one that's going to sit outside the breeze. Outside the leader, I should say. Let's Gallivant, I think, lands leaders back. The other horse that I was interested in a speed map point of view was Last of the Line. I think from that gate, if Brad Parnham's quite aggressive, I think there's a possibility he can land 1-1.
He would need to show more gate speed than what he perhaps did the other day, and saying that they went along at a ridiculously strong clip. And that was when he was...
I think he left the gates pretty well and they sort of snagged him a bit.
He's a live player in this race for mine, Last of the Line, because he comes out of the right race, and that is the Eurythmic. I think there's 5 horses coming out of the Eurythmic coming into this race, and he was only beaten a length and a half, and he made ground on a day when not many horses were making ground, and he was making ground down the middle of the track, and we know that the rail was white hot on that occasion.
From a speed map point of view, devoted.
He's the interesting one. He's the interesting one. We know that he's been a little bit soft in the tab touch market here. He's my $6.50 favourite, but I thought he would be ridden midfield at best. There is a small suggestion as we sit here this morning that maybe they are going to be positive on him. That would surprise me a little bit, but he needs to win. He needs to book his spot in the railway, and sometimes you don't leave things to chance.
Well, that is the starting point. Shall we have a look at Devoted? He was 6th first up. We know that he had no luck. Patrick Carberry on board, barrier 17, the $4.80 favourite. Does he profile, gents, as a horse that can win this race despite the setback of that wide barrier and then go on and win the Railway Stakes, because he's very popular in that market?
He certainly is, TC, and I remember speaking to Paddy Carberry many years ago, and he often referred to the fact that sometimes the best spot to be at Ascot is 3 deep with cover. You go when you want to. You're not being dictated to by being, cuddled up inside other runners. If Devoted is in a 3 deep with cover line there at Ascot on Saturday in this race, can he win?
With cover, he can win, I think, despite the way the pattern of the Ascot track has unfolded in the first 3 weeks we've been there on a Saturday. I've mapped him without cover, though. 3 deep, no cover. Otherwise, I think he's almost last. If he's getting cover in the 3 deep line, I'm not sure where it is. I have MTA in the 3 deep line. I have Search and Rocks in the 3 deep line. Alaskan God is also there, and then Tricks of the Trade.
So, but if those horses are in the 3 deep line, is he therefore getting 3 deep with cover but in a rearward position? Is that sufficient?
That's where I think, if he is to get cover, I think he's in the last 4 maybe in running.
Yeah.
If he can win from there, mighty effort. I'm not sure he can win from there.
All right, well, that is Devoted in the Asian Bow. His prospects, I think we are going to see the second most exciting horse for this Pinnacle Series. I think we saw the most exciting one last week in Amelia's Jewel. Next cab off the rank is Alaskan God, who's a $5 second favourite for this weekend's Asian Bow Stakes. TC, can the Derby winner return a winner in the Asian Bow?
Gee whiz, I tell you what, I love these easy questions. You're on the path to the Pinnacles. His talent says yes. He's returns as a 4-year-old gelding. He should take natural improvement from his 3-year-old season. He's tasted defeat on one occasion. First up, no trial, 1,400 metres. It'd be a mighty, mighty training effort.
Now, he did beat Tricks of the Trade in both the Mel Vista and also the Derby as he went through his 3-year-old autumn campaign unbeaten. But some of the other horses he was beating, Who's Me Daddy, Free Solo, Wee Ripper. This is different gravy on the weekend. Not saying he can't step up to the plate, and the market likes him. The market loves this horse, and you can understand why, because he's a winner. He just gets it done. He gets the services of Chris Parnham. He's got Dan Morton, who prepares the horse so very well, gets his horses to peak on the days they need to peak. It wouldn't be a complete and utter shock if he goes there and just blouses them. He's
very short in the market, though. You couldn't force me to bet in this market on Alaskan God at the moment.
Too short for me again. He's $8.50 in my market at 95%.
And that's where he was on the Tab Touch market this time yesterday. Now, Diggers, we know that TC is the president of the Tricks of the Trade fan club. I'm going to throw to you firstly. Off what we saw first up, can he elevate again and book his ticket to the railway?
It wouldn't be a shock. Absolutely. He dropped 7 kilos.
Massive.
He meets Devoted better at the weights. Now, Devoted gets the services of a senior rider. I get that. And perhaps that little bump that he did get from Taj Dice and Troy Turner aboard Tricks of the Trade worked in his favour in the end. He wasn't happy at the time, Troy, but what that did do was allow Devoted to get in front of him, and then he had his toe ball. And he got that lovely cart, that lovely suck into the race, and then he let down powerfully. You don't see horses like that with 61 kilos on a Saturday win like that unless they are very talented.
Third fastest final 200-metre split of the meeting, where the Eurythmic and also the Crawford were on that same day with 61 kilos. Diggers, I've mapped him probably last in the 3 deep line. So he's going to be giving some good horses a very big start. But if he comes on from that first up run, reels off a sectional like he did first up, who's to say he can't win?
He won't know himself with 54 kilos. Like when Troy asks him to quicken, he'll think he's got nothing on his back after carrying 61. It's a big drop in weight, and as I said, he gets a decided pull in the weights on Devoted, who's being thought of as a chance to win a railway.
Absolutely. That's 3 of our half dozen that we're going to look at. The next one we'll look at, we won't spend a great deal of time on because we know that Carly's Karma is still awaiting a start, but if Carly's Karma gets a start, she becomes a big player in this.
I think if you like Tricks of the Trade, you have to like Carly's Karma. Yes, she's only a Class 5 horse, but she bolted in. She kicked their heads in second up. It was as dominant display as you will see, coming across from a wide gate, sat handy to the speed, and then dropped the hammer on them. Now, she beat Brooklyn Pier by over 3 lengths in that race. Brooklyn Pier was beaten narrowly the other day by Tricks of the Trade. That's the Devoted form line. She's got barrier 4 with 54 kilos. If she gets a start, she can win this race. I genuinely believe that.
Don't disagree with that. We've spoken about the draws of some of the main chances. She's drawn beautifully. She'll just lob in a spot without doing any work whatsoever, and then she'll show her turn a foot late.
The last 2 horses that we'll talk about as well have also drawn beautifully. The next of them is a horse that you two gents have got a lot of time for. That is Last of the Line, who was 5th first up in the Eurythmic Stakes TC.
I did my market to 96%. Now, I haven't included Carly's Karma at the time that we are recording because she doesn't have a start, so I'll reassess if she does get a start, but I've got him $6 favourite. Yep. Last of the Line, just purely, mainly, he was very good first up, but purely on the fact that I think I can guarantee that he's going to get a good run.
Yeah, you would think so, and he was really good the other day. He got to the line nicely, as I said earlier. He was only beaten a length and a half behind Resort Man, and I know there was Resort Man, there was Titan Blinders, Comfort Me, but he sort of defied the pattern a little bit. Is he good enough to win this race second up, staying at 1,400? Is that the nag?
That's the nag. That's the nag for me. He might be looking for 1,600 now, but I think he's certainly good enough. I think the horse is absolutely flying. We spoke about it before his first up run. I was happy to take $21 about him first up. Not getting that price at the moment, but I think he's still overs.
The interesting thing with him is sometimes with form analysts, you're looking with the eye and you're looking at data. The eye was good and the data backs it up. So he's an obvious player in this race.
And the last one we'll look at, it sounds silly to say that it's urgent for a horse that's already in the Railway Stakes, but there is a sense that there is urgency around Treasured Star this weekend. She was disappointing first up. albeit she was in behind another horse that's in this race in MTA. Can she turn the form around a little bit and put herself back into railway contention this weekend, TC?
I'll say the thing in her favour is I think she's going to land on the fence from gate number 6, maybe midfield. Well, she's going to be a lot closer to the fence than she was first up anyway. She found herself in a spot where runners at Ascot to start the season haven't been winning. But on her trials, on her form, she won't be getting any of mine, put it that way.
No, look, I was quite critical of her first up performance. Now, again, she might have been in inferior ground on a day when they weren't making ground, but the fact she was soft in the market and ran, dare I say it, accordingly, some alarm bells. Is she capable of improving? Absolutely. Does she need to? Absolutely. I wouldn't put it past her because we know at her best, the best version of Treasured Star is exciting. I think we all acknowledge that.
All right, that's half a dozen of the key contenders for the Hosemasters Asian Bow Stakes. Let's get some numbers, gents, albeit they can change if Carly's Karma does get a start between now and Saturday afternoon.
Over to you first, Diggers.
Well, I've got Carly's Karma at the pointy end of my selections, and I'm sweating on her, and I'm sure Summer Dixon and Connections are as well. If she doesn't go there, I need to do a rethink. Last of the Line is going to be there. I think Devoted is going to be there. If you're to put me on the spot right here, right now, maybe, just maybe, Devoted from Last of the Line, because I do have Devoted as my favourite, albeit at $6.50.
I was last of the line, ahead of Tricks of the Trade, ahead of Alaskan God, ahead of Devoted. Were my 4 numbers. Very price orientated. So if those numbers, I'd probably be backing the other 3 outside of Alaskan God because I think he's too short at the moment.
If Carly's Karma gets a run, what do you do?
Reassess. Have a good hard look at myself in the mirror.
Do you think she's a live hope?
Absolutely. Just based off the run she's going to get.
Yeah.
Now, 66 plus up into a Group 3. Not a horse that I'm going to find all that often, but she's going to get the run of the race.
So there's our look at the Group 3 Hosemasters Asian Bow Stakes. We now turn our attention to where the big guns of the sprinting ranks come out to play in the Tab Touch Prince of Wales Stakes, Group 3 level, weight for age over the 1,000 metres. This goes at 4:25 on Saturday afternoon. And we'll have a look at the market before we get to the speed map. $3.70 Miss Kentucky, $4.60 this will test you. You've got Will Chino at $6.50. Now, there is some doubt as to whether she will take her place in the Prince of Wales Stakes. Some suggestion that she'll be scratched and saved for the Colonel Reeve Stakes in a fortnight. Nero Dio and Comes a Time, both at $9.50. And TC, as you'd expect in a 1,000 metre scamper, there's a lot of speed here.
Speaking about the speed map, Tim, I think there's one horse we begin with. That's Indian Pacific. He finally finds a race without Mervyn. He's going to be able to find the rail. Digby is going to be able to find the top. And if what we read is correct and Mulchino comes out, I think he's going to be able to control this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether Brad rides him and holds him up and sort of cuddles him, or does he just say, I'm not riding you cute today. Today is the day where, off the back of 3 trials and a first up run, your arch nemesis is no longer on the scene. Let's cut the ribbons and ride you really positively. And if that's the case, and he kicks around that corner, we're on the true. We've seen Ascot be a leaders and or rail-dominated space thus far this season. Is Indian Pacific, and his price will trim up if Will Chino does come out. Is he a big quote at $23?
$23, yes, I think so, because we know he finds the front over 1,000 metres at Ascot, so you're sort of halfway home in that sense. Other speed map horses, I thought Express Time probably sits in the box seat, so I think we differ on this. Diggers, Nero D, I think, finds a very similar position, 3 back the fence, as he did last start. He was very effective in that position. But I think the horse that gets the run of the race is This Will Test You. I think from that gate can lob maybe outside Indian Pacific, and then from there, Money Matters probably crosses her and she finds cover in the 1-1.
Well, if she lands in the 1-1, she's going to be awfully hard to beat because her first up run off the back of a couple of really encouraging trials was outstanding.
And is it your expectation, gents, even if Will Chino does go around and the Connections do decide to change up what they want to do and indeed start her, she still lands in a good spot anyway?
Yes, I differ slightly from TC. I thought maybe she could be trapped if there was a bit of speed inside. If Nero Dio elects to kick up Lactar, now he might not. He might be quite comfortable being 3 back the fence. But if Lactar kicks up on Nero Dio, he box seats, Express Time's quick, drawn inside This will test you, then gets 1-1. Where does this will test you get? 3 deep again, no cover. Maybe 3 deep with cover. I would have thought money matters if Wilchino, again, if buts and maybes, TC. If Wilchino does not start on the weekend, you would think that money matters, given the speed that he showed out of the gates 2 weeks ago, probably finds that spot outside Indian Pacific.
Yeah, I think so. It's very tough speaking at the moment because we expect Wilchino to come out, but she's still in the market. We need to act like she is there. But, my speed map has this will test you getting a beautiful run.
So what we're seeing is that a number of the key fancies are going to be in the back half of the field, potentially there on Saturday afternoon. And one of those who got gifted the world perfect gap there on the second day back at Ascot, that was in the Crawford Stakes. Miss Kentucky was able to get along the inside, paint the rail, and too good for This Will Test You. She's the starting point. She's a $3.70 favourite. Can she go back to back?
Oh, I couldn't get her anywhere near that price in my market, just purely on the fact I think she's probably in the last three settling in running Tim and Diggers. I think she's back. She'll have 3 wide. I think she's a better horse running outside horses, but just everything went right. She should come on second up. She's just going to have to pass a lot of horse flesh.
You can see her flashing. It's just whether she gets there in time,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we know that she's high class. We know that she can run some seriously quick fractions. We've seen it previously. We saw it in the Summer Scorcher, I think it was, this year. She broke 33. Like, she had to be, in the words of Darren McCauley, shot out of a cannon. Well, she did that.
You know what you sound like right now, Diggers? You last year asking the same question with Elite Street, and you were asking about him in the build-up to the Winterbottom, the 1,000 metres of the Prince of Wales, the 1,100 of the Colonel Reeves. He'll be flashing, and he got there. Can she do it? Can she get there?
It wouldn't be a shock, and the market says she can, and the 370, as we sit here right now, that is going to dissipate once Wilchino at 650 comes out. Like, she could be around the $3 mark by the time people see this, and if Dan elects to pull out Wilchino, which is really short for a back marker, over 1,000 metres in a high-class field at a track which is proving leaderish.
All right, well, Taylor, you are very keen on This Will Test You this weekend. $4.60 second favourite. Is this her moment to get some weight for age, black-type success?
I think so. We spoke about all the luck that Miss Kentucky got. First up, This Will Test You got absolutely no luck. 3 wide, no cover. Had to work, was still there, was nosed out by Miss Kentucky. And if I'm half right with the speed map, she's going to get a beautiful run in the race. She should come on second up on the back of one trial. I think she's primed. I think she's ready to go.
Okay, so she's your on-topper?
Absolutely.
All right. I've got her in the numbers as well, but I'm leaning again towards Miss Kentucky.
I'm going to ask you about 2 more runners before we get your numbers, gents, for the Prince of Wales Stakes. The first of them is Nero Dio, just in rock-solid form. Let's hope we can see, for Steph Bakranich's sake, Nero Dio get a win on the board at Ascot.
I think, TC, a lot of people would argue, had Lacta elected to stay where he was, along the fence, he gets that run that Miss Kentucky gets 2 weeks ago. If he gets that run, is he capable of winning that race? You could argue, yes. He wasn't far away. He gets an identical run. Lacta zigged when he should have zagged. It's split second stuff, but with even luck, he's a live hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised that he went up as big as he did in this market. Nero Dio, brilliant turn of foot, loves the 1,000 metres, ticks a lot of boxes, going to get a beautiful run. He's going to need the luck at the right stage again if he's 3 back the fence, but if he gets that, he's a massive winning chance.
He's speaking of flashing runs. Well, that was Hot Zed a fortnight ago in the Crawford Stakes. Wait for age conditions now of the Prince of Wales Stakes. Can he be getting home even quicker than what he did first up and winning this race?
Not sure it's possible. He was outstanding, breaking 33 that day again on a piece of turf which wasn't conducive to horses, figuring in the finish. He was outstanding. My only nag with him, TC, is that he is probably better at 11 and 12 and maybe beyond that. 3 goes at 1,000 for 1 win, and that was a slashing fourth most recently, but I'm just wondering whether that edge has come off him ever so slightly. In saying that, deeply respecting what Lou Luciani is able to do with his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Stable flying. That's the position I took. I thought the shine might just come off him second up, staying at 1,000 metres. If this was 1,200 metres this race, I think I'd be pretty happy to team up with Hot Zed in a race like this, but staying at the 1,000 is my nag on him.
All right, well, that is a look at the Tab Touch Prince of Wales Stakes. What's the numbers in it, gents?
For me, I am with 11, Miss Kentucky. From 12, This'll Test You. I've also got Nero Dio in for third. And I have got Indian Pacific in for fourth because I think if they ride him really aggressively, he might be able to fill a place. Or certainly run in and around the placings.
Yeah, this will test you. Holding on from Nero Dio at least, and Miss Kentucky flashing late.
All right, so that's a look at the Group 3 Prince of Wales Stakes from a numbers point of view. The other feature on the day, we'll just have a very quick gloss over this, gents. It is the Tab Touch Placid Arc Prelude. Obviously, we'll have an in-depth look at the Placid Arc Stakes in a fortnight, but it looks as if you're either Team Baby Paris or Team All Show. 185 All Show, 260 Baby Paris. Let's go, Diggers. All Show or Baby Paris?
Saturday for me, All Show over the 1,000. If they meet again in a fortnight, depending on gates, I'd be Team Baby Paris.
Team All Show.
Team All Show this week. Well, I think All Show can get a big win on the board this week as well. Now, this is our favourite part of the show where we get a $100 stake. We haven't had much joy so far. We haven't had enough to return on our $100 investments each and every week. So we're looking to get into the positives this week, and Diggers is looking to get on the board. I managed to find Amelia's Jewel last week, the best horse won.
Righto, muscles.
So the best horse won the
Jimmy
Belgravia Stakes, absolutely. So I've rocketed to the top of the leaderboard.
Well, yes, you have in this field of three. And
Yes.
look, it's been okay finding winners, but finding the winners and turning that into money has been very difficult for 1D Beecham. I'm going to have $30 on Miss Kentucky. I'm going to have $30 on Amacinas. Now, I'm going to have $40 on Devoted if Carly's Karma doesn't run. If Carly's Karma gets a start, I'm going to have $20 on Devoted and $20 on Carly's Karma. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Thank you.
$30 on Amacinas.
Did I say Amacinas? I missed Kentucky.
And Miss Kentucky.
Miss Kentucky
And
and...
Amacinas.
No,
You
I
said.
meant this will test you.
This will test you.
Did I say Amacinas?
Said Amacinas. All right. Now
No
that's
wonder
this
I'm
will
not
test
making
you.
any
Yeah,
money.
well,
This will
that's tough.
test you.
30 on This Will Test You and Miss Kentucky, 20 on Devoted and Carly's Karma, or 40 on Devoted. Work that out. You
Diggers-
need an absolute...
For the sake of getting you underway, we might even give you another 30 to have a bet on Amacinas.
Hey, good on you, you flog.
TC.
Poor Christian next door's just torn his
Oh.
hair out. I'll have
Wowee.
$50 on This'll Test Ya.
Or Amacinas.
No, This'll Test Ya.
Yes.
$20 on Nero Dio.
Yes.
$20 on Last of the Line in the Asian Bow.
Yep.
And $10 on Tricks of the Trade. I think I'll get $10 there, so if Tricks comes
Yep.
flooding home, I think I'll get my money back. So I'm just trying to put as many eggs in as many baskets as I can.
What we've seen from TC and Diggers there is that they are looking to cover a lot of bases. I'm going to search further in front this week because Devoted's going to win. I'll have 100 on Devoted to win the Asian Bow Stakes at $4.80. As simple as that, gents.
I think you'll get better than that on the day.
All right, I hope we do. I can go further in front.
Okay.
Fingers crossed we get our cartons too.
Oh, good luck with that.
That is another edition of Path to the Pinnacles for this week. We'll be back next week. We'll have a look at the Faritha Stakes and also the Group 2 Wait for Age Listia Stakes.
Join Tim Walker and Digby Beecham on the Sports Daily each weekday morning from 5:30.